the FBI starts sniffing around, starts digging around, starts flipping through pages, looking into the WNBA.
1W, we've all witnessed some questionable officiating this season, haven't we? The kind of calls that make everyone watching say, wait a second, how is that not a foul? Well, now there might actually be a reason behind it. Reports have surfaced that several referees have testified under oath, claiming the league was influencing how specific games were officiated. And according to them, those instructions came directly from Cathy Engelbert's office. Caught in the middle of all this is Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest attraction. The rookie who's filling arenas, breaking attendance records, and drawing millions of new fans to women's basketball. Yet somehow, she's the one absorbing the hardest hits without any real protection. And here's where it takes an even more serious turn. Following the NBA's recent gambling scandals, Stephen A. Smith said it outright. If the FBI is investigating the NBA, don't be surprised if the WNBA becomes the next league under the microscope.
Why am I glad you're here, Monica? Because don't be surprised if the WNBA is next on his list.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't be surprised if the WNBA is next on his list. Yep. Don't be surprised.
This isn't just about poor officiating anymore. It could be the start of something far more significant. Let's unpack what's really happening here. When the news broke, it didn't feel like a leak. It felt like an explosion. 3 veteran referees, each with years of service in the league, stepped forward and gave sworn statements pointing the blame upward. Not at coaches, not at players, but directly toward Cathy Engelbert's leadership team. They described internal meetings, subtle expectations, and directives that weren't subtle at all. Not call the game fairly, not protect the players, but make sure the league stays competitive. One of the referees reportedly said, something that's now at the heart of the entire controversy. Too much attention on one player hurts the league's image. Everyone knew exactly who they were referring to. This wasn't an emotional outburst after a heated game. It was a composed, deliberate statement made under oath. A legal declaration that's now being taken seriously by investigators. That puts the WNBA in uncharted territory. Not fan complaints, not criticism, but a full-blown legitimacy crisis. The league has spent years trying to expand its audience and modernize its image. Caitlin Clark became the driving force behind that momentum. So why then would the league try to limit her rise? According to the referees, it wasn't personal, it was strategic. But when strategy crosses into manipulating competition, that's no longer leadership, that's interference. And now the investigation is deepening. The phrase that keeps resurfacing from those referee statements is, protect the league image. Not protect the athletes, not protect fairness, just the image. For decades, the WNBA has tried to create balance. No dominant teams, no single superstar controlling the headlines. They wanted slow, managed, predictable growth. But basketball doesn't thrive under control. It grows when greatness is allowed to flourish. So, when Caitlin Clark came along, bringing in millions of fans without marketing campaigns, PR manipulation, or staged storylines, league officials reportedly panicked because they couldn't control the pace or direction of her rise. A true phenomenon breaks structure. It doesn't wait for permission. And instead of celebrating her impact, league leadership allegedly tried to manage it, to level it out, to make it blend in. This wasn't done with public statements. It was done quietly, through officiating adjustments, fewer whistles, more contact, a silent directive. Don't let her stand too far above the rest. But that mindset doesn't just limit a player, it damages the integrity of the entire sport. When Caitlin Clark joined the WNBA, she didn't just step onto a court, she transformed the energy around the league. Before her arrival, games drew steady but modest crowds. After she appeared, arenas sold out, ticket prices skyrocketed, and TV ratings surged. She was thrilling, magnetic, and authentic. The kind of athlete every league dreams of. But not everyone welcomed her success. Some veteran players felt overshadowed. Some coaches resented the sudden shift in attention. And according to referee testimonies, league leadership grew uncomfortable with how quickly everything began to revolve around her. Caitlin didn't climb the ladder slowly. She blasted through it. And that's what made her different. Instead of matching her momentum, Engelbert's office allegedly tried to slow her down, hoping the league could catch up. But greatness doesn't wait. Caitlin never complained publicly. She never asked for special treatment. She worked, competed, and carried herself with humility. And that quiet professionalism made the whole situation even more striking, because the one person handling it with grace was the one being targeted. Anyone watching her games could tell something was off. The hits she took weren't normal defensive contact. They were full-on collisions, hip checks, and elbows away from the ball. Yes, basketball is physical. But this wasn't normal physicality. This was permission. Referees now claim they were told to let it play whenever Clark was defended, to allow more aggressive contact, and to avoid interrupting the flow with fouls. But those unwritten rules didn't apply to everyone, only to her. And that changes everything. Because there's one unspoken agreement every athlete relies on. Referees will protect the integrity and safety of the game. Once that trust is gone, everything falls apart, from player confidence to the sport's reputation itself. Meanwhile, Cathy Engelbert was often seen courtside, smiling calmly as if nothing was wrong. Her presence sent an unspoken message: she'll be fine. The league needs balance more than it needs protection. But the league doesn't grow when it restrains its brightest stars. It grows when it shields and uplifts them. Parity sounds nice. Every team competitive. Every season unpredictable. But real parity comes from coaching, development, and talent, not from officials manipulating how games are called. The referees exposed what many fans suspected. The league didn't want one player to dominate the narrative. They didn't want one team defining the league's identity. But that's exactly how sports evolve. The NBA had Jordan. The NFL had Brady. Tennis had Serena. Soccer had Messi. Every sport has a generational talent that pulls everything forward, and smart leagues build around them. Instead of doing that, Engelbert's office allegedly tried to dilute Clark's impact, spreading out the spotlight to maintain balance, even when it meant compromising the integrity of the game itself. But greatness isn't meant to be distributed evenly. Greatness changes everything. If these allegations prove true, fans haven't been watching pure basketball. They've been watching an orchestrated product. And now that the truth is surfacing, the WNBA can no longer hide behind image management. What started as whispers online has grown into a formal investigation. Referee testimonies weren't buried. They were escalated, verified, and taken seriously by professionals who specialize in ethics and organizational accountability. This isn't just about missed calls anymore. It's about whether the league's leadership actively influenced results that should have been decided by the athletes themselves. That's a charge that cuts straight to the heart of sports integrity. Investigators are reportedly focusing on several key questions. Did league executives directly communicate expectations to referees? Were officials instructed to allow extra contact specifically against Caitlin Clark? Were certain outcomes influenced to create a false sense of balance? And most importantly, who authorized these decisions? When investigators find consistent stories, patterns, or internal communications that align with these claims, that's when things turn serious. Engelbert's leadership wouldn't just be questioned, it could be legally implicated. And if that happens, this story won't end with online outrage. It will trigger massive structural changes, leadership shifts, officiating reforms, and possibly a complete rewrite of league governance. This isn't the kind of scandal that disappears in a week. It's one that could redefine the league's entire foundation, and all of it is happening while basketball itself faces global scrutiny. The WNBA's issues aren't isolated. They're part of a larger conversation happening across sports. With the NBA already dealing with betting controversies, player misconduct, and questions of integrity, any sign of manipulation in another league raises alarms everywhere. So now, when investigators look at questionable WNBA officiating, sworn referee statements, and a sudden wave of public attention, the stage is set for something massive. The WNBA now stands at a turning point. What happens next will determine not just the league's credibility, but its legacy. Fans, athletes, and sponsors are watching, not for another PR statement, but for real accountability. If investigators confirm the referee's claims, it won't just uncover corruption. It'll expose a mindset that valued control over competition and perception over integrity. But if the league faces the truth, embraces reform, and recommits to fairness, it could emerge stronger than ever. Caitlin Clark didn't choose to be at the center of this controversy. She simply played with passion and authenticity. And maybe that's the reminder the league needs most. Basketball was never meant to be managed. It was meant to be played. Because in the end, once the whistle blows, truth always finds its way back to the court.